Hello and welcome to our show, Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and I have my amazing co-host with me from Las Vegas, Paul Vato. Hey, Paul, you're looking really, really dapper in that hat. How you doing today?
Thank you. I thought my hair was a little messed up, so maybe I was just going to wear a hat to hide that. And it's my poker hat. I've been playing a lot of online poker lately and Club GG and whatnot. Doing well. I'm wearing t-shirts. It's really warmed up in Las Vegas, so I'm very excited about that.
Super. Well, you're in good company because we have a special VIP in the building, Tommy Jackson. I am so thrilled to announce his presence here. He is the CEO and founder of First Note Entertainment, music record label owner, and a motivational speaker. Got a great heart, youth mentor, and life coach. Let's give him a genuine warm welcome. Hey, Tommy, thanks so much for being here. How are you?
I am amazing. I'm amazing. And thank you for having me. And hey, I will be in Las Vegas the first week of June to be playing the World Series. So let's get together. I play a lot of poker.
Buddy. Oh my God. AJ, you can step away now if you'd like, because I think I found what we're going to talk about for the next 3 hours. Tommy, you're a poker player.
Yeah, I play the tour. I sure do.
I'd like to I need a poker friend. Sorry, AJ, I hope you don't mind us chatting about this, but I do need a poker friend because I know that that's how you get better, is actually discussing hands and talking strategy. But I've never, even though for 10 years I was inside Binion's Casino, I had a couple cigar stores inside Binion's, which is, where the World Series of Poker started, so much history there. And, it was just like coming to Vegas and saying, I'm going to play golf every day. I think I've played twice since I've been here for over 10 years. Same with poker. I was just too busy. But now that I'm not necessarily retired, but I have more time on my hands, I've really gotten into it. And, I'm able to play online. But I did the World Series of Poker last year and the year before, like the Crazy Eights tournament, not the big one, not the main event.
Sure.
But I would love to talk to you about that.
Anytime, in my other world, I own Jackson Wealth Management, which is a wealth management firm. And so I've been a numbers guy all my life. And I was coaching football as a mentorship program. And I had all these young kids, and to kind of build team building, they taught me Texas Hold'em years and years and years ago. And one of the kids that I actually coach football is Shannon Shore, and he's one of the top 10 in the world. And so he's my coach every now and then. I get to pick his ear and play around with him, but it's a place for me to relax. I use it just totally to relax.
It's funny, though, that they taught you how to play, these younger kids, or these kids.
Which is super
amazing.
good at my age, because my table image will be, I probably have a very tight old style. And I think that kind of leads in all the stuff that AJ, you would want to talk about is, the generations. I say generations don't have gaps. Generations always progress. They always progress. And so for me to be connected to the youth and doing what we do with music, it's very important that I understand their language. And that was the same thing with poker. There's very important that the people that taught me was a young generation. So I play a very young, aggressive style poker, which is so not what they're expecting from somebody my age at a table. So it's usually a couple hours before they figure out that I'm not only playing aces, but also 5-7 suited. So, it's one of those deals.
AJ, that's good to know. So we should definitely play.
That's incredible. You also have a really fun hat you're wearing, Tommy. It says drill down, level up. Can you share with us what that is about?
Yeah, drill down, level up is something. We have multi-dimensions to First Note Entertainment. And First Note Entertainment has one division, which is my motivational speaking, which we do all the way from schools to colleges to literally corporations and churches. And then we have the Rising Star Roadshow, which actually is music with a message that goes out on tour. We have First Note Play, which is our sync licensing firm, but we have Drill Down, Level Up. And Drill Down, Level Up teaches independent artists how to monetize music. And we teach them all things music. And we had our very first big conference in Sandestin, Florida in January, where Several hundred people attended, and we teach everything from production to how to use social media versus it using you, to how to actually work in film and TV. And that's something we have in common. A lot of things we do at First Note Play is a sync licensing firm where we actually place music to TV and film and picture. So we spend most of our musical time actually working in the cinematic side of music.
You know, this is one of the main questions I wanted to ask you. How hard is it to get in film and TV? Because I have to say, so many people want to have a track or any kind of, even just one song in a movie or a film. I have offers. I have people messaging me to try to send me something, and I'm not the expert. So Tommy, tell us, how hard is it?
Well, I don't think it's as hard as it is that you, like anything else, you have to understand the systems. And the process of working in film and TV, it's a real easy process to learn and teach. And so the very first thing you have to do if you're on the music side is understanding that you're creating music to picture. You're actually creating music for a creator. Unlike if you're just an artist for a fan base, you're creating music for your fan base. But when you're creating music for a creator, making their music makes their scene come to life, it makes their commercial come to life, it makes them be able to sell the product or emotion, then they're going to take your body of work and cut and paste it to make their body of work come to life. So there's formulas that we write to. We write differently to trailers, we write differently to promos, differently for big cinema, regular TV. If we're writing for advertisement, it's very formulaic writing to a certain degree, because you're actually making sure that creator on the other side is taking your body of work, and maybe they have 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute and a half at most to take your music and bring their creation to life. And so I don't think it's hard once you understand that formula. And then the next thing is you got to understand the process. You guys make the film, you hire a music director, the music director's going to sit there and they're going to score that movie and put temporary placements in. And then according to their budget, they're going to reach out to people like us and say, we would like to replace this sound, this reference track, with something more affordable. And they usually come then to our world and our indie artists through music supervisors and then reps. So I think if you're going to be the artist, you have to get hooked up with someone that's inside the structure and the system and not send out your songs randomly. That's a pretty tough way to do it.
I love that answer. Thank you, Tommy. And speaking of one of your clients, I hope it's okay to mention Ellie Duke. She has some phenomenal songs, and I've listened to her tracks and songs on Clubhouse that you've played in your rooms. Would she like to be in a film? Are you promoting? Would she like to have one of her songs like in a music video, or has that already happened?
It has happened, and you know, obviously, Ellie and I have a very unique relationship. I own First Note Entertainment, and when I discovered Ellie, she had this great history. She was signed at 18 years old, basically to replace Taylor Swift with Big Machine Records, one of the majors with Scott Bruschetta. That didn't work out as good as you would like it to, but the talent has always been there. I was a judge at a national songwriting contest, and I heard a song called Broken Crayons come across my desk. It was amazing. The song was amazing. I did something super funny, because I wasn't into social media, all those things, Wall Street, making money, running corporate worlds. Last thing I was going to be, I was on Instagram and TikTok and all those things, even though I was in the music business. And so I said, if this girl doesn't win, I'll never judge this again. There were 5 judges. Well, she won the national songwriting contest. With that song, I was so moved by the song, I needed to know who she was. So they said, I got to get in touch with her. They said, DM her. And I was like, I have zero clue what that means, right? So I literally Googled DM, right? I thought it meant dumb man trying to tell the girl, I need to get your song. And so I Googled her, and then I DM'd her, and I found out a lot about her. She had amazing history, an amazing world happening for her. And so I found out that less than 2% of women actually own a record label. And versus bringing her into my label, I wanted to be a person of change. So we formed a second label, New Me LLC. We formed a true partnership. She owns 51% of her rights in her music. I own 51% of the business decisions. And we've been out there working super hard together. And obviously with my connection to film and TV, that's been a very big avenue for her. And she's had several film placements. And that's really a big part of our strategy. So fortunately and blessedly, she's been able to see her stuff in multiple films.
This is wonderful because you're really you cater actually to each of your clients, don't you, Tommy, and their goals. And I think that, is this right? You can within 10 to 30 seconds, Tommy, you can kind of spot a hit pop song or rock song or hip hop. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I tell a lot of people that good songs make me go broke. Great songs are hard to come by, but you can tell if you got something to really work with within 15 seconds. The very first thing you're going to hear is the quality of the production. I mean, right off the bat, you'll know if you're dealing with someone at what professional level. It doesn't mean that you can't find something and create it and make it better, but it's no different if I use analogy of, say, sports, a football team. You have high school, you have college, you have pros. It's very easy to figure out you have a professional song or not a professional song. And so you can tell by the production. The next thing that comes out is you can tell literally by the vocal skills of if you got someone that you know has real talent. So I've got great production, I got great vocal skills. The next thing I'm going is to the lyrical content. And I can listen to the first 4 or 5 or 6 lines and tell you if this is going to be a creative writer, is this is going to be an emulator. So it's really not hard to say, this grabs my attention to listen to the 3 or 4 minutes. And I usually know within 15, 20 seconds if I want to listen to the song or not.
That's incredible. Paul, what do you think about that? You know, Tommy has so many years in the business, and he was also in a band himself. So he's got an ear for this. Isn't that something? Not everybody has it, right, Paul?
No, that's amazing. And I'm kind of almost looking at that like in the cigar business. You know, you smoke somebody else's cigar, and within 15 seconds, I mean, you look at it, you see the wrapper, you see the quality, you light it. How does it light? How does it smoke? And it's you know, I think it's sometimes hard for people to listen to that, where they're like, well, give it a chance, it's gonna get better. And sometimes cigars do, but it's interesting to have such a developed ear that Tommy has, and to know, you know, because I feel like a lot of people will say that, like, well, just give it a chance, but it's probably not going to get any better. He already knows that. So that's amazing. Same with me with the cigar industry, tasting somebody's cigar, knowing I'm going to really enjoy this, or I can already tell it's not going to be good. Maybe the way it was rolled, it's too tight, doesn't smoke right, whatever. But it's wonderful that kind of transcends into music, and when, you know, time is money. So, hey, sorry, I gave it 20 seconds. It didn't, it's, you know, I can tell it's not good, or maybe it can get better, but it's going to take us too much money to get it there. So it's wonderful to see, Tommy, that you can kind of know what's going to happen.
I listen to about 1,000 new songs per month, you know?
Wow.
And so if you were to sit there and just do the math, you've got to be critical for an ear. I try to be respectful. And so even though I have my team, I do listen to every song that comes through the company, and I approve every song that we sign at the company. And then we represent literally thousands of songs. And it's one of those things to where I don't want even my team to be wasting their time with music that has been given to me out of love and concern. So I will listen to everybody. And that's unusual. Most people will not listen to unsolicited music at all, but I'll listen to unsolicited music, but it will typically be very critical and very, very fast like that. But I mean, if you really think about it, and I believe this with all of my heart, that's really true to life, period. And I think one of the things that we were talking about prior to is, you know, how are you successful at something? And I think you got to define success. I think that's a word that gets away from everybody. I've been blessed to live seasons of my life to where the world would say I had a high level of success or acclaim or recognition to. I have literally, truly believed this. Most people spend most of their times on the leaves and branches of life. That's where it gets real confusing. And so you have a pine tree, you have an elm tree, you have a cherry blossom tree. They all look so different above ground. And so there's where the debate becomes. But underneath the soil, it's those roots, and they're all very similar in the roots. So I learned no matter whether it was managing money, whether it was coaching football or mentoring kids, or whether it was from the standpoint of music business or public speaking, you better have those fundamentals down. And so I spend my time in the roots of life. I don't get hung up in the leaves and branches where all the arguments are, you know.
I love that. And you have that great spirit and soul also that influences Clubhouse. And that's where we met, Tommy. And isn't that right, Paul? And we met as well. So, and Tommy has his rooms. He has a Soulful Sunday. And then you also have your pop-up music rooms. I encourage everybody to jump on Clubhouse and look up Tommy Jackson and follow him, support him, and check it out because he always has a wonderful room full of lively, inspirational thoughts and ideas and people and great family and wonderful music. So, Tommy, did you want to talk about Clubhouse and how has it changed your life?
I think what's so crazy is, again, I spoke earlier about not doing any social media. So I really had never done social media. So when I came on Clubhouse, there's seasons of life and there's goods and bads and ups and downs and peaks and valleys. And I tried to look at all those valleys in my life of saying, where's the opportunity? And so obviously there was a valley in our life where we were shut down in the pandemic and I could no longer go to the schools. I couldn't go to the corporations. We couldn't do any concerts. And we had really, the music industry wasn't happening for film and TV. There was really this quiet time. And someone said, you really need to go on this app called Clubhouse. Well, I just kind of went on there kind of looking around. Well, what ended up happening was that app is really special in a lot of ways. During the time of the pandemic, there was a lot of heavy hitters on that app. I mean, a whole lot of heavy hitters. And you could really segment yourself, whether you wanted to be film and TV, whether you wanted to be music, whether you wanted to be public speaking, coaching, motivating, or whatever. And as I went exploring through those spaces, it took me a while to kind of get my grips on what it was about. But then all of a sudden you started realizing there's real relationships. I think Clubhouse did something really challenging for me. In this situation, which I was used to, Zooms or whatever, I can see your faces, I can see your reactions, and we can build a common bond. In Clubhouse, I was seeing a still picture. So I wasn't sure if people were getting me, if they got my sense of humor, if they knew that it was. So I think it taught me humanity. I think it taught me to respect to listen more and respect this person speaking. I think it taught me about multiple cultures and personalities and diversity that I would have never exposed myself to across the world as a whole. I think it taught me to appreciate the largeness of the world, yet the smallness of an app like that. So it took First Note International. I am representing people from all over the world now with my music, and I've been able to place music and films for people all over the world in my music that I would have never, ever done. And it drilled down, level up, 300 people, 75 people came from Clubhouse. So it was actually a way, and then we flew in even from like England and places to be part of this thing. I don't think maybe people recognize the power of Clubhouse, not only internalized, but being able to remove those great friendships and relationships off app and into real life situations. And it's been a blessing for me. It made First Note more worldwide, but I think it made me a better human. I really do. I think it gave me some places to hear from, talk to, listen to subject matters that I never would have been involved with. I just kind of was Wall Street and music. And this opened me up to humanity.
This is phenomenal, and it did me too. I really I love that answer, Tommy. And Paul, do you have that same sentiment about Clubhouse? You know, right here on Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Tommy really hit on some things like, as an actor, I think I am used to acting with my voice, but it really reiterated the importance of that because it's easier on a Zoom like now or when we're recording for a podcast because I can see your reaction, I can see Tommy. But on Clubhouse, you're totally just listening, and it forces you, I think, to listen better, not interrupt, because it's there's that respect we're giving to each other. And the way that Tommy runs his rooms and you run your rooms, it's phenomenal because there is real discourse. There's people talking. There's all this value. And I mean, it was life-changing for me because, you're stuck inside. You can't go out or you can't go visit people. So it really and it really motivated me to get back into acting, and it connected me with an agent and a manager
So good.
and all that. So if it wasn't for Clubhouse, I don't, it's not like it was before, 20 years ago when I first got into acting, where you got to go put up a show and then invite managers and agents, come see my show. Now they couldn't even do that. So Clubhouse was instrumental in that. And part of that was rooms like Tommy. I may not be in the music business, but I gained so much information because you can always learn from people. Business is business.
Right.
And to have people like you, Tommy, on there telling, explaining different things and just being an amazing business person, I'd want to pick your brain as to how the logistics of it all, because you have all these things going on, but you're still able to balance all these plates. But it's tough for me, one business and that's it. So but I got back into acting, so I love it. I love Clubhouse for that.
Congratulations, you. And AJ, like her Tuesday night room that she does with Kimberly and their team, it's like it's a place for me to actually, it's like, I guess, the show Cheers. You drop by the bar, right? It's like what you're getting when you go in there. The culture, the vibe, the atmosphere. And sometimes it's just a chill conversation, and other times it gets super, super connected and super business with people with great knowledge. There's people coming there that you get to reward because that they were trying out for this or that. And it's real networking without hassles, and it's real networking without trying. And you have to earn the respect of the room by being who you say you are, because their room will validate that, or they'll kind of, get you to the curb real quick.
Exactly. That's
Judas does great.
He's an incredible Hollywood director and screenwriter, and he sets the tone on that. Judah Ray and Kimberly for the Entertainment Network on Clubhouse. You're absolutely right, Tommy. And it's about, we talked about this before, it's about LOVE. We want to do that, but we also want to have the authenticity and the real people. Thank you for saying that. And yeah, Kimberly is a rock star. She's amazing. And I enjoy working with her so much, as well as Deborah Richards and Paul. I've got these great professionals around me, Tommy, and it happened because of Clubhouse, just like you were saying. And I met you, and I hope one day, Tommy, I get to meet you in real life. Wouldn't that be a crackerjack thing, Paul?
It'll happen.
I'm already planning on meeting Tommy June 1st.
That's
for the
right.
World Series of Poker.
That's right. I will be out there for a minimum of a week, and
Sure.
then I go back out the back weeks. I'm usually 14 days in the series. I'm usually 14 days out there every year for the last 15 years. So,
well, if you need a place to stay, I'm in Summerlin, but
you're awesome.
It's a drive. It's 20 minutes, but yeah, I would love to have you on my podcast, and maybe we can just talk about preparation and things like that. And I love that you mentioned earlier that you're a little deceiving, because I know that when you play against an older person, you're right. You're like, well, if he's coming in, he's got pocket aces, pocket kings, ace king,
right?
Maybe ace queen,
Exactly.
And for you to play this younger style, when did you start learning? When were they teaching you? Was it like in the early 2000s or later than?
No, it was early 2000s, exactly when it was. 99 through 2002 or 3 is when I was playing with them a lot. And then when I started playing competitively, and there's just fundamentals. Like I can play most of the time without looking at my cards.
Sure.
Most of the time, if it depends on the level of the table, I can play without looking at my cards.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Well, to a certain degree. If I sit at a table long enough, there'll be betting patterns, position, players' tendencies, bet sizing, body language, all of those things come into play to where I know if you got a pattern of betting certain kind of cards, I got 2 or 3 people out in front of me that's made calls, and then I can call a 5-7 low, and the cards come high. I got a good chance of betting you off of that pot, because of the cards that are available and the cards that should be out. So playing, and so we take that back to, the entertainment business. The same thing exists. The same thing exists. It's about positioning yourself correctly in the business. It's about understanding the people and the connections that you need to be making. It's about making sure those connections are consistent and they have, loyalty to them. And so in the entertainment business, I try to do the exact same. I try to position myself well. I try to make sure that I understand who I'm partnered with, and I try to make sure that the opportunities are consistent and there's longevity to it. And the entertainment business is a long game. And if you do the game of poker and you were to play tournaments, a tournament's not won in a day, but it's lost in a second. And so that patience, so I think that, the analogies that you can run through most sections of life has a lot of similarities more than it has differences of what makes you successful or what makes you fail.
And that was my question. I'm sorry, Paul, go ahead, love.
Yeah, I was going to ask Tommy when his book comes out, because I'd love to buy his book on poker equating to life and business, because you're so right. There's so many parallels. And I think that's why many of the poker pros our age, the older ones, have been in business first. They're entrepreneurs
100%.
Because you have to have that. You can't be risk averse,
100%.
and money almost can't mean anything because it's just a tool to make more money. Same with the chips. They're just a tool for me to try to make more chips to ultimately win this thing or finish, in the top 9 or final table.
Right.
So a lot of parallels, but I would love to see it if you were to put some pen to paper and give us some of your philosophies, or a blog at least.
There's just so many philosophies like that, for sure.
And don't you have a podcast, or are you going to?
We're going to start back the podcast. We were doing a lot of stuff during the pandemic, and we're doing a lot of motivational speeches that we were kind of bringing to music and stuff. And we're going to start back that. I did a podcast. The last thing that I did motivational wise was the day my mom died. And so I did a tribute to her. They literally said, you got to come right now. Hospice called me and they said she'll be passing within the next 5 hours. And I didn't. I came straight to where I am today. And I did this thing in tributes to single moms. And all of a sudden, when I got back on the mic to do the next one, I didn't want my mom to be part of a series of podcasts and a series of stuff. And so it's been 2 years, so it's time for me to get back. But I just wanted to honor her. So I shut down all the podcasting and everything. But it's time to get back in it. You heal through those situations. You grow through those situations. My mom was my hero and will always be. And I just didn't want her to be in a series of motivational speeches. But the one I did on her is a Rockstar Motivating. It's super great because she was a great inspiration of what a single mom has to go through in this world. And some of the greatest winners in life. And you talked about that word success. My mom never really, had money or any of those kind of things. But I think she was probably the most successful person I know, because when she passed, she left her kids not being able to replace her and carrying on all of her legacy. And so we're all leaving footprints in the sand every single day. You want to make sure that people want to follow them. My mom left footprints that I would want to follow. And so I try to do that.
Where did you grow up, Tommy? What part of the country?
Alabama, deep South, real Southern boy. You don't get a lot of the Southern. You can definitely hear it and know that I'm from the South to a certain degree. But when I've worked on Wall Street for 30 years, you lose I speak a lot faster than the typical person from the South. I'm not as country as most people from the South and all those things. But once you're around me enough, you get the Southern boy flavor for sure.
And I wanted to ask, this is kind of a philosophical question, but you know me, I'm very deep. What brings you the most joy? When are you your happiest, Tommy? What is your bliss? What makes you happy?
It is so simple for me, and it sounds so corny and overblown, but I think that you guys have known me enough to know that when I say it, it's going to be like, that makes sense. I'm the happiest when I am using my gifts to make somebody find their star power. I really love empowering people and getting them to get to that level that they're capable of. I believe all of us have superstardom. And I just think we've defined that wrong. I think all of a sudden superstardom for some people means, millions of dollars and Ferraris. But I believe we all have potential for greatness. And when I see someone living just below their greatness, it truly inspires me to try to get them to elevate themselves to being that person they're capable of being. And that's when I'm the happiest, for sure.
And that is pure love and pure service.
I wear my hat all the time.
Your
What? It's a hat day, hat and glasses. I got the memo.
Yes. Okay.
And I just realized, yeah.
I'm
And I'm wearing a music shirt. Maybe not your genre, but I'm wearing.
Hey, I have all genres.
From the Blasters, if you're familiar with the Blasters.
I am not. Who are the Blasters?
There, I guess you would be Americana, and please correct me if I'm wrong, or we can save it for the show. But rockabilly almost. They're from like they kind of came up with the Los Lobos around that time in the LA scene. They're from maybe one of the suburbs of LA, and I mean, just an amazing band. There was a film called, was it called Crossroads or The Crossroads, something like that?
Yeah.
I think they did music for that with I think Ralph Macchio may have played the character. Where maybe
I just turned them on to listen to them. I listened just to Dark Knight. It's really cool. I like them a lot.
Oh, Dark Knight. Marie.
Yeah, cool.
Mexican, was it Mexican radio? No. Border radio.
Yeah, if I was screen sharing with you, I would have hit you. I would have shocked you. I'd have surprised you because I quickly searched them. The Blasters. I have to check them out. I'm going to follow them. I love that. I love that kind of music a lot. So
yeah. 41144, which were the numbers that I think mostly African Americans played, like in the numbers game. And one day, 41144 came in, and everyone got screwed, I guess, because everyone used to play that same number. But
so is divided between millions of ways. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm looking at the clock, and I'm so sorry that the time has gone so fast. We're gonna have to start wrapping it up, but I want to do our heart messages. I always do that, and I wanted to start with you, Paul, for your heart messages for this week. Over to you, Paul.
Wonderful. Just do your best, but surround yourself with people that can allow you to shine and thrive, to do your best. I'm using Tommy as inspiration and motivation to have a company that does so many things, but it does them successfully. So I can only assume it's through partnering with the right people, bringing in the right people, and things like that. So for me, it's, surround yourself with your tribe, if you will, just like we found on Clubhouse, and let's help each other succeed.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Thank you, Paul. Great sentiments. And Tommy, I want to say thank you. You have been an outstanding guest. I just want to say, everybody, follow First Note Entertainment and support it on, there's a website, firstnoteentertainment.com. Follow Tommy Jackson. He's on all Instagram, Facebook, First Note Entertainment, First Note on Clubhouse. So over to you, Tommy.
Mine is so easy. Just be kind to yourself. And when I say that, how do you do it? Because people throw out a word, and how do you do it? I truly believe this with all my heart. Life doesn't begin or end at a certain age. It begins and ends every day. That means yesterday's gone. You can't change it. You can learn from it. You can grow from it. But at the same time, don't live in the past. The past is gone. Don't waste that time there. Once it's given you all it's supposed to, let it go. Just write that page and move on. Don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to have enough worry on its own. And it never ends up the way we thought. Everybody tries to predict the future, and we're so bad at it. If you'll live today being the best version of you can be, and you'll give yourself the power of forgiveness, then go be you. Don't try to be anybody else. God made no mistake when he made you. You don't have to follow. You don't have to emulate. You don't have to do any of that. Look inside and understand that we were all meant to shine. Just allow yourself to glow every single day, one day at a time. And when it's a bad day, shred it, move on, get rid of it, live the next day. Life's about one day at a time. Be you.
Amen and amen. I can't top that. Tommy, that was brilliant, wasn't it, Paul? Come on.
100%.
And thank you. And Until next time, until we meet again, my heart message, all I can say is I can't top what Tommy says, but I can just say keep the faith. Right? So keep the faith. And until next time, au revoir.
See you guys.